Your partner is stuck in a dangerous set by someone close to them. They are trying to protect you without. My beloved child, tonight I speak to you with a voice wrapped in mystery and truth because something has been unfolding in silence around the person you love. And the signs have been whispering to you even when no one else noticed. There is a quiet storm circling your partner's life. A hidden scheme woven by someone who smiles close to them yet moves in shadows behind their back. And your partner has been standing in the middle of it all. Not for themselves, but for you. They have been walking through uncertainty with a calm face, pretending nothing is wrong, carrying a weight so heavy that even their heart trembles beneath it. Yet they refuse to let you see the depth of it. Because they believe that revealing the truth may place your peace, your glow, your world at risk. Every time they pull away for a moment, every time their voice softens mid-sentence, every time they stare into the distance as if searching for courage, it is not because they are losing interest. It is because they are guarding you from something they believe you should never have to experience. And while you wonder why their silence feels deeper than usual, they are quietly protecting you without asking for praise, without seeking sympathy, without expecting recognition, only hoping that one day you will understand why their love sounds quieter yet stronger than ever. In the deepest corners of their mind, your partner carries the knowledge of who orchestrated this web around them. Someone familiar, someone trusted, someone who has worn the mask of closeness while planting doubts, misunderstandings, and invisible barriers in their path. This person is not loud, not obvious, not dramatic. They operate through subtle hints, quiet influence, small distortions of truth spoken at the right moment, shaping situations in ways that make your partner question their every step. And yet, instead of reacting, instead of confronting, instead of exposing anything, your partner chose stillness because they knew that if they responded in the wrong way, the tension could ripple toward you. They chose endurance over explanation, patience over confession, silence over chaos. Their heart aches when they watch you feel confused, when you wonder why things seem different. When you sense their emotional distance, but they would rather let you misunderstand them for a moment than let you get dragged into a storm you were never meant to enter. They move carefully like someone, crossing a fragile bridge, choosing every word, every breath, every pause with intention because one wrong expression could open doors that have been locked for your safety. And their greatest fear is seeing a single tear fall from your eyes because of something they could shield you from. There are nights when they sit alone replaying conversations, studying every moment that led to this turning point, and asking themselves how someone so close could create such an elaborate situation. They question the kindness that once felt sincere, the promises that once sounded supportive, the gestures that once appeared genuine. Yet through every doubt, one truth remains stronger than everything else: their devotion to you. They keep stepping forward. Not because they are fearless, but because your name gives them courage. They carry your happiness in their thoughts like a sacred promise they refuse to break. Even when their hands tremble in quiet moments, even when their voice softens into hesitation, even when they are overwhelmed by the weight of what they cannot say, your partner chooses love over comfort, chooses silence over conflict, chooses sacrifice over explanation. They want to tell you everything, to rest their head on your shoulder, and release every hidden burden. But a single thought stops them. If revealing the truth would place even one worry inside your heart, they would rather hold the entire storm within themselves. And so they continue guarding you gently, loving you deeply, and protecting you without revealing the story behind their quiet resilience. You may have noticed how their eyes linger on you a little longer than before. How their voice softens when they call your name. How their presence feels more intentional, more delicate, more aware. That is because in their heart, you are not just a partner. You are their safe place, their guiding light, their reason to hold steady when everything around them feels uncertain. Clear's throat, they want to keep your world untouched, your peace unshaken, your smile unbroken. They admire your strength, your innocence, your compassion. And they know that if you ever discovered the full truth, your heart would feel the weight of it alongside them. And that is the one thing they refuse to allow. So they shield you in ways you may never see. They step into uncomfortable spaces so you never have to. They accept misunderstandings so you can breathe freely. They may act distant not because they are turning away but because they are forming a barrier between you and the unseen forces around them. Every delayed reply, every thoughtful pause, every quiet moment is not a sign of fading love. It is a sign of silent courage. They are walking this path not as someone trapped but as someone determined to protect what matters most. And that precious thing is you. And as this unseen chapter unfolds, you are being guided to trust the invisible strength within the connection that binds your hearts. The universe is gently revealing that love is not always expressed through loud promises or constant words. Sometimes it lives in the quiet choices someone makes when nobody is watching. In the sacrifices they never mention. In the storms they face without asking for acknowledgement. Your partner carries a story they wish they could share. A truth wrapped in caution. A journey that has shaped them in silence. And one day when the moment is right, when everything becomes safe, when the shadows lose their influence, you will see how deeply they have been standing for you from the very beginning. Until then, feel the unspoken devotion in their presence. Sense the sincerity in their gaze. Recognize the strength behind their quiet tenderness. Something powerful is unfolding. Something transformative, something that will rewrite the meaning of loyalty and connection. And every second you remain, you step closer to a revelation that will change the way you see love forever. My beloved child, as we step deeper into this unfolding mystery, the air around their life grows heavier with unspoken truths. And every breath your partner takes feels like a quiet promise to keep you safe, no matter what price they must pay in silence. Behind the scenes, the same familiar figure who crafted this tangled situation watches closely, waiting for a reaction, hoping for a misstep. Yet, your partner refuses to give them the satisfaction of seeing doubt or fear. Instead, they walk through rooms filled with hidden intentions and disguised emotions, carrying themselves with calm strength. Even when their heart trembles beneath the weight of what remains unspoken, they replay every conversation, every moment, every subtle shift around them because they know that the smallest move may ripple toward you. And in those silent pauses where you sense distance, what you are truly witnessing is their courage. A love so deep that it chooses restraint over relief, patience over confession, protection over comfort. If you are feeling this message echo in your heart, if these words awaken something inside you, Then share this story forward so others who feel the same silent pull may find reassurance, and let your thoughts flow in the comments so your voice becomes part of this powerful journey, because your presence here shapes the story as much as their devotion does. There are moments when your partner stands in quiet places, watching the world move while their mind lingers in the spaces between truth and secrecy. And they wonder how long they can carry this burden without revealing the storm they are shielding you from. They see the way you care, the way you sense every shift in their tone, the way you notice their pauses, and it makes their heart ache with admiration and longing. They wish they could place every hidden truth into your hands. But the uncertainty surrounding them was not created by chance. It was placed carefully, intentionally by someone who knew where to strike, close enough to influence, close enough to be trusted, close enough to create tension without being questioned. And so your partner stays still because movement may awaken conflict, and silence becomes their quiet form of bravery. In those moments when your soul feels aligned with these words, when you recognize fragments of your own experience in this unfolding story, take a moment to subscribe so you remain connected as each part of this revelation continues to unfold. Because what lies ahead carries depth, emotion, and meaning that will follow through every future chapter of this journey. Deep inside, your partner carries a memory of when everything still felt simple. When trust was whole, when conversations were effortless, when every smile felt untouched by interference. That memory fuels their resilience now, reminding them why they must stand firm even when the path feels uncertain. They are not trapped by fear. They are guided by love. Their guarded actions are not distance. They are protection. Their silence is not avoidance. It is sacrifice. They know that your heart is sensitive, intuitive, beautifully aware, and if you step too close to the truth before the right moment, it could weigh on you in ways they refuse to allow. So, they choose to hold back details, to compress emotions, to absorb the impact themselves. And while the world may misinterpret their quiet nature, you are being guided to see beyond the surface, to recognize the strength, the softness, the depth of care woven into every unspoken gesture. If your spirit resonates with this depth, share this message with someone who may be searching for clarity, and let your reflection live in the comments. So your story, your experience, your voice becomes part of the collective strength carried through this narrative. With every passing day, the unseen forces around them test their patience, observing whether they will break under pressure or rise above it. But your partner does not crumble. Instead, they transform their uncertainty into determination, their worry into strategy, their silence into a shield strong enough to keep your world untouched. They study every pattern, read between every line, and stand between you and anything that could disturb your peace. And though they sometimes seem distant in their thoughts, their heart is closer to you than ever before. Because every silent decision they make revolves around your well-being. They admire your presence, your warmth, your light, and they believe that you deserve stability, tenderness, and calm. That is why they endure what others would walk away from, because your smile matters more to them than their own comfort. If you feel called to stay connected to this unfolding truth, subscribe so you remain part of this emotional journey, and share your reflections in the comments so your voice stands alongside theirs, strengthening the bond of hearts that refuse to give up even in silence. And as this chapter deepens, the universe gently reminds you that some of the greatest acts of love are never spoken aloud. They live in quiet sacrifices, in unexpressed strength. In the moments where someone chooses to stand alone in uncertainty, so the person they love may continue to breathe freely. Your partner may not reveal every detail yet, but their actions speak through subtle devotion, through the way they watch over you, the way they measure their words, the way they continue forward even when the path feels uncertain. Something powerful is still forming behind the curtain of silence. Something that will one day reveal how deeply they have been standing in your corner since the beginning. Until that moment arrives, remain present in this journey. Feel the energy between each line and allow your heart to recognize the truth woven into their quiet protection. Because every second that passes draws you closer to the moment when everything hidden will finally step into the light. My beloved child, as the story moves further into the silent corridors of truth, the energy around your partner grows more intense, more fragile, more deeply layered than anyone on the outside could ever imagine. They wake up each day carrying the weight of choices they never asked to face. Yet they walk forward with a steady heart because they know that their strength is the only barrier standing between you and the unseen pressures surrounding their world. The person who crafted this hidden situation remains close, too close, appearing gentle on the surface while quietly influencing events in ways that create emotional confusion and inner conflict. Your partner senses every shift in tone, every unusual gesture, every subtle attempt to manipulate circumstances. And instead of reacting impulsively, they respond with silence, patience, and controlled composure. They understand that one wrong move could spark unnecessary tension, and so they choose to remain grounded even when their spirit feels pulled in opposing directions. Their eyes hold stories they cannot yet speak. Their heart holds truths that must wait for the right moment. And within that quiet restraint lies a love so powerful that it stands firm even when the world around them feels uncertain and delicate. Deep within their soul there exists a quiet battlefield where emotion and responsibility constantly intersect. And in that place, your partner makes choices not for themselves, but for the safety of the connection they cherish most. They reflect on every moment they share with you. Every laugh, every breath, every memory that has shaped the bond between your hearts, and it gives them courage to endure situations that most people would never tolerate. They look at you and see hope, peace, warmth, a sanctuary they refuse to let be disturbed by someone else's hidden motives. When they distance themselves for a moment, it is not rejection. It is recalibration, a moment of internal grounding to ensure that nothing harmful slips through the emotional walls they have built around your world. They hold conversations in their mind instead of aloud. They swallow words that might reveal too much, and they allow misunderstandings to exist temporarily if it means protecting you from unnecessary concern. Their silence is not emptiness. It is a shield carefully shaped by love, guided by intuition, strengthened by the belief that your heart deserves clarity and calm rather than chaos and uncertainty. There are quiet nights when they sit alone. Their thoughts wandering back through every interaction with the person who created this tension, piecing together patterns, recognizing intentions, understanding where trust was misplaced and where vulnerability was taken advantage of. They replay moments that once felt harmless and now reveal hidden meanings. And the realization leaves them with a mix of disappointment and quiet determination. But rather than letting anger consume them, your partner transforms that awareness into wisdom and self-control. they refuse to escalate conflict, refuse to expose you to distress, refuse to allow negativity to seep into the sacred bond you both share. They breathe through every silent storm, reminding themselves that their purpose is not to fight loudly, but to protect gently. And though the world may never see the effort behind their composed expression, their heart beats with unspoken dedication, a steady rhythm of loyalty that says, "I will carry this quietly so you do not have to." You may sense the shift in their energy, their voice softer, their presence more intentional, their gestures more thoughtful than before. And that is because every interaction with you now carries deeper meaning. They no longer take time lightly. They no longer speak casually. They no longer move without awareness. Every moment they spend by your side feels like a moment of safety. A moment where they can breathe again. A moment where the weight they carry loosens just enough for their heart to rest. They watch you with admiration, appreciating your purity, your understanding nature, your inner strength, and they silently promise themselves that no matter what unfolds, they will not allow anyone's hidden agenda to touch your spirit. They stand like a silent guardian, strong yet gentle, distant in explanation, yet deeply connected in emotion. And within that balance lies a form of love that many seek but few ever experience. A love that protects without noise, nurtures without demand, and sacrifices without acknowledgement. And as this unseen chapter continues to expand, the universe gently leads you to recognize that everything happening now is shaping not only their path, but yours as well. This journey is refining trust, revealing true intentions, and strengthening the bond between your souls in ways that words could never fully describe. One day, when the time is right and the shadows lose their hold, the full truth will unfold with clarity and calm. And in that moment you will see how deeply they have stood for you. How many silent battles they faced. How many quiet decisions they made. How many unseen sacrifices they carried in your name. Until that moment arrives, remain aware of the subtle language of their heart. Feel the sincerity behind every pause, every glance, every breath. And know that even in silence, their love surrounds you with unbreakable protection, unwavering devotion, and a faith in your connection that nothing and no one can dissolve. My beloved child, as we enter this deeper layer of the journey, the atmosphere around your partner's life becomes heavier with truth that has been maturing in silence. And every heartbeat they carry feels like a quiet testimony of endurance shaped by love and unseen responsibility. They have walked so far into this hidden maze that their spirit has learned to move carefully between shadows and light, balancing hope with restraint, strength with vulnerability, and silence with unspoken courage. The one who designed this situation, the one who stood close, spoke softly, and disguised intention behind familiarity, believed that your partner would break under emotional pressure. But instead, your partner has grown wiser, more aware, more internally powerful. They have begun to see beyond illusions, to recognize manipulation wrapped in kindness, to understand the patterns that once went unnoticed. Yet, even as clarity forms within their heart, they still refuse to let conflict reach your world because they believe that your peace is far more valuable than their desire to reveal everything. They carry truths in their eyes while speaking gently. They hold storms inside their chest while appearing composed. And every silent decision they make revolves around one promise that nothing from this hidden scheme will ever be allowed to disturb your emotional space. In quiet moments when the world rests and the night stretches long, your partner reflects on what has unfolded and a wave of realization flows through them. They now understand why everything happened the way it did. Why certain people behaved differently. Why subtle tensions appeared where trust once lived. Yet instead of reacting with anger or bitterness, they choose self-control because they know that emotional explosions only feed those who thrive in confusion. They remain steady, grounded, conscious of every word they speak and every move they take. Their silence is no longer just protection. It has become wisdom. They step back not out of fear but out of strength, understanding that they no longer owe explanations to those who operate in disguise. Their thoughts turn toward you, toward your presence, your warmth, your gentle spirit, and they feel a renewed sense of purpose, as if the universe itself is reminding them that some connections are meant to be protected with unwavering devotion, even when circumstances attempt to challenge them from the shadows. There are days when they feel the emotional exhaustion pressing against their soul. When their heart aches from carrying what they cannot share. When they wish they could simply place every truth into your hands and find comfort in your understanding. But then they remember why they remain silent. Because they know your heart is pure, sensitive, beautifully kind, and they do not want you to carry burdens that were never meant for you. They want your smile to stay untouched, your spirit to remain light, your dreams to remain free from the weight of someone else's hidden intentions. So they continue to absorb the impact themselves, not because they are obligated to, but because they choose to. This choice is not weakness. It is courage. A form of silent bravery that few souls are capable of. They walk through emotional storms without announcing their pain. They stand strong in quiet corners without seeking reassurance. And they keep their heart aligned with love rather than resentment because they believe that protecting your peace is worth every sacrifice they make in silence. You may notice how their presence feels different now, calmer, deeper, filled with a quiet maturity shaped by everything they have endured. Their words carry more intention, their gaze holds more meaning, and their energy feels steadier, as though they have reached a point of inner understanding that allows them to breathe with clarity. At last, they no longer chase approval, no longer seek validation. No longer allow hidden influences to shape their emotions. Instead, they stand with a renewed sense of identity, aware of who truly stands beside them and who merely stands near them. When they look at you, their heart fills with gratitude, not just because you are part of their life, but because your presence gives them strength in ways they cannot explain aloud. You are the calm in their storm, the gentle light in their uncertainty, the reason they choose patience over reaction and love over conflict. And even though they may not reveal every hidden detail yet, their soul silently whispers a promise that everything they have faced has only strengthened their commitment to protect what you both share. And as this chapter expands toward its quiet turning point, the universe reminds you that some of the most powerful stories are written in silence, through resilience rather than noise, through endurance rather than confrontation. Your partner has walked through a path crafted by someone else's hidden intentions. Yet, they did not lose themselves. They transformed. They awakened. They rose above the shadows without letting darkness touch your heart. One day when the time becomes right and safety replaces uncertainty, the truth will unfold with clarity. And in that moment, you will see every unseen step they took for you, every silent battle they fought, every sacrifice they carried without speaking a word. Until that time arrives, feel the depth of their devotion in every subtle gesture, in every thoughtful pause, in every quiet breath beside you. Something profound is still evolving beneath the surface, a transformation of strength, loyalty, and emotional truth. And when it finally reaches its moment of revelation, it will not bring fear or confusion, but calm understanding and a love that has proven itself in silence again and again. Subscribe our channel for daily prayer prophetic.